Hi, this is Ted Beener with the National Weather Service in Seattle. This video helps describe the latest winter season outlook for the Pacific Northwest, produced by the National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center. Please note that this video is valid until Monday, October 2nd. First, let's review what is El Nino versus La Nina. El Nino is when sea surface temperatures in the eastern Pacific tropical waters are warmer than average. These are the waters that are west of Peru along the equator. And in contrast, for La Nina, those same waters are cooler than average. In this graphic here, I want to emphasize the ocean temperature departures to kind of give you a visual feel for what El Nino and La Nina is. In the lower left-hand corner, in those warmer colors, that is a classic El Nino. In this case, it was from the season of 1997 and 98. That is a classic El Nino look. Just to the right of it, from the La Nina of 1990 or 88 to 89, the blue or cool colors depict a typical La Nina. So what does this have to do with our weather here in North America? Well, it has everything to do with the position of the jet stream and the storm track. In a typical El Nino, the storm track spends a lot of time across the southern tier of the U.S., and here in the Pacific Northwest, we tend to be warmer than average with no real trend for precipitation. For La Nina, the jet stream spends a lot of time at our latitude, just like it did with the weak La Nina last winter, and sometimes will buckle, go up into Alaska, the Yukon, grab cold air, and bring it down into the lower 48. So the Pacific Northwest during a typical La Nina tends to be cooler and wetter than average. And there's something in between. That's called neutral conditions, when those eastern Pacific tropical waters are close to average. Here is a look at historical trends going back to 1950. In the red are El Nino years, in the blue are La Nina years, and some of the more prominent events have been highlighted here. The El Nino season of 2015 and 16 was the third warmest or strongest El Nino since 1950. And the most recent significant La Nina was back in the winter of 07 and 08. The definitions of weak, moderate, and strong El Nino or La Nina are also given here. How often do these occur? Well, this pie chart basically shows that El Nino, La Nina, and neutral are about a third of the pie. And last winter's weak La Nina is 20% and occurs roughly 1 out of every 5 years. On here we have a feel for what is our current conditions here of late. Now, on the left-hand side, back in the early 1980s, NOAA put in a fleet of buoys to monitor the El Nino Southern Oscillation conditions, and they put them in from off the coast of Peru all the way out into the western Pacific in the tropical waters. Climatologists have studied this phenomenon over the years, and using these geographical areas, Nino 1, 2, 3, and 4, they found the hybrid Nino 3.4 has the strongest correlation to North American winter weather. On the right-hand side, this is showing sea surface temperature anomalies going back to last year. You can see our weak La Nina that we had there in the blue colors gradually moderated as we headed into spring and into early summer. At that particular point, it looked like maybe we might be heading towards an El Nino for this coming winter season. But then it leveled off, and just in the last few weeks has really tailed off, and now we're into a La Nina situation. So weak La Nina conditions have developed across the eastern Pacific at this point, with sea surface temperatures dropping below average. Here's a loop going back to the beginning of the summer and kind of shows the trend as we go through the summer months to just the last few weeks. So the Climate Prediction Center has put a La Nina watch in place, and it's anticipated for this winter season. So that means that the jet stream will probably tend to spend a lot more time at our latitude, bringing us more Pacific storms. Now, back in the middle of the summer, what you're seeing on the left-hand side here is guidance that shows what the sea surface temperatures were expected to be as we go through the latter part of this year and on into the first part of next year. Of Across the bottom you see some 3 letters put together. For instance, NDJ stands for November, December, January. The one just to the right of it is December, January, February. You get the idea. At that particular point, most of the guidance was showing that we were headed towards neutral conditions heading into this fall and winter season. And at that point, they were indicating a better than 50% chance of neutral conditions coming for this winter and less than 25% chance for El Nino or La Nina. However, historically, when you look at the spring and summer, it always tends to be early. The Eastern Pacific tropical waters are still deciding how things are going to shape up for this current winter. Moving on to this month, now you see the guidance for the sea surface temperatures in the Eastern Pacific tropical waters are showing a lot more solutions in the La Nina category. So things now at this point have really evolved, and there is a 60% chance of La Nina for this coming winter season, about a 35 to 40% chance for neutral, and now less than a 10% chance for El Nino. So here is the latest seasonal outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center. This is for the period of October through December. On the left-hand side is temperature, indicating a 50 to 55% chance of warmer than average temperatures for this 3-month period. On the right-hand side is precipitation, and now indicating a 40 to 50% chance of wetter than average conditions. If we looked at this just a month ago, the probability for precipitation was equal chances, so this has somewhat of a La Nina look to it. As we go into the winter season, this is January all the way through March. When we looked at this last month, this was all red across the lower 48, those warm colors. Now it's indicating equal chances, meaning 33% chance of above, 33% chance of near, and 33% chance of below average temperatures. On the right-hand side for precipitation, the odds have increased to 50 to 55% chance for a wetter than average 3-month period here. And again, both of these are showing some La Nina tendencies and are a sharp contrast from what the outlook was just a month ago. If you look at our significant weather events that we have and ranking them with regards to how often they occur with the El Nino Southern Oscillation, for major floods, La Nina ranks number 2. And here are some significant events going back a number of years. For instance, the December 64 snow followed by an atmospheric river, aka Pineapple Express event, resulted in widespread flooding on Christmas Day and beyond. And then we had the season of 95-96 with major floods in November as well as February that season. And then most recently, we had major flooding in early December of 2007. Just another reminder of what we had back on that particular season. For major windstorms, La Nina ranks number 1, just barely over neutral seasons, and some significant years include the December 12th, 1995 windstorm, another season there in 98-99, and then of course the Great Coastal Gale, which occurred the same time as the flooding event in early December of 2007. For lowland snow events, La Nina really stands out in comparison to neutral and El Nino seasons. One of the classics is the winter season of 49-50, which still today many record low temperatures are on the books during that season. The winter of 55-56, another season with a lot of snow, as well as 64-65, and most recently 2010 and 11, where we had several cold weather outbreaks and several lowland snow events across the state during that winter season, particularly in January and in February. Now, I want to emphasize that not all winters produce significant weather, yet our history shows that we need to be prepared for them. So in summary, a La Nina watch is in effect, and the latest seasonal outlook for temperatures shows that the odds are tipping towards warmer than average for this fall, with no real trend for this winter season. And for precipitation, from October all the way through March, increased odds on wetter than average conditions. A typical La Nina season for the mountain snowpack usually results in a pretty healthy mountain snowpack, and it's probably going to be above average by the time we reach the peak of the snowpack, which is right around the 1st of April. A reminder, the Climate Prediction Center seasonal outlook charts are updated every third Thursday of each month. On the event scale, based on our history, looks like a good potential for cold air outbreaks and lowland snow across the state this winter season, and the odds are in favor of one or more major flooding or major windstorms. All of this points to remind everyone to please stay tuned to the latest forecasts and conditions as we move through this fall and winter season. So please stay tuned. Here are some decision support services and resources that you're welcome to use. If you don't already have our website bookmarked, here it is at weather.gov/Seattle. Also wish to remind you of our smartphone web application called Interactive NWS. This is just for the emergency management community. The website address is provided here. Once you get there, the registration button is in the upper right-hand corner. For two-way communications, interaction with yourself, I want to remind you of our event-driven weather briefings. These are live webinars for the widespread, highly impactful type events. Email and YouTube briefings. If you're not already in the list, please contact us. Also, NWS Chat. This is a means to communicate with the forecasters on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Very easy to register and get your own account. Weather Service social media, including Twitter and Facebook, good situation awareness tool. And finally, you're welcome to give us a call if you have any questions, whether it's just the weather or you need some weather assistance for search and rescue, hazardous material, or any all hazards assistance. Both of these phone numbers are unlisted, and we answer them 24 hours a day.